anonymous, we are legion. We do not forgive, and we never forget. CPS, expect us.
The following video exposes a corrupt social worker. DHS says the following video is illegal. DHS has tried to get the video removed from the internet. Share this video. DHS wants it gone for a reason.
A divorce, your baby bumping his head, and an unethical and biased CPS worker, to put it nicely, equals a recipe for disaster, and I'm going to explain to you why. So on December 30th of 2020, I picked up my baby from the Bend police station. This was the agreed meeting place for my ex and I to do pickup and drop-offs. I have an Arlo home security system, so you can see me walk through the door at 8:09 p.m. Kind of visit with the baby, talk to him a little bit. Notice how he's not wearing pants. It's December in Bend. Come on. This was the typical thing. He was never dressed properly, and he was always pretty dirty. Anyway, back to the video. 8:10 p.m. You can see that Thomas is now in the house, so it's weird. So I don't know if you guys know anything about Arlos, but when they start recording when they detect movement, and sometimes they take like little clips here and there. I don't understand how it works. If anyone does, please explain it to me. Anyways, 8:10 p.m. You can see Thomas is now in the house. And I had mentioned to him I felt a bump on the baby's leg. Oh my god.
It's not like Bruise though.
No, but that's not a good thing.
You should take it in.
I kind of want to take it in right now.
Right now? I don't think that's like...
So we actually discovered that the lump I was feeling was the baby's leg muscle coming in. And because he was walking... Now, I wasn't used to feeling a muscle there, and so it kind of threw me off guard. I obviously felt like a little bit of a goof, but just relieved. Well, anyway, shortly after is actually when I noticed bruising behind the baby's ears, and I thought it was kind of odd. So the bruising was in the crease of his ears where, you know, the ear and the head meet. January 1st, 2021 is the day I would drop off the baby at the Bend police station at 6:30 p.m. That same day, the baby, I would say around 4:30 to 5 p.m., the baby actually had fallen and hit his head in the master bathroom at my home. He was wearing a fuzzy onesie that I got him for Christmas that I'll show you guys right here. And unfortunately, these onesies, they don't have any traction on the bottom. So as soon as the baby's feet hit the tile in the bathroom, that's when he had slipped, hit his head on the trim. And what's interesting about this is I said to Thomas, I said, how much do you want to bet I'm going to get CPS called on me because he hit his head? And what do you know? Anyway, he was wearing that same fuzzy onesie when I dropped him off at the Bend police station on January 1st, 2021. Thomas said to me, you know, you're never going to see that onesie again. You do realize that, right? And I said, you know, we picked him up with no pants. It's December. It's cold. I'm going to make a point. I'm going to send him off in a nice outfit. And at least he's warm. And you know what? He's going to grow out of it soon anyway, so it's not a big deal. So what's interesting about this is in the CPS report, they mentioned that the baby also had bruising on his thighs that looked as though he was pinched. So I specifically remember changing the baby's diaper before dropping him off that day, and he had no bruises on his thighs. So altogether, we have the bruising behind the ears, which I noticed December 30th, 2020 when I picked him up. We have the bruise on his head that he got from falling in the bathroom. And then we have these bruises on the thighs that looked as though he was pinched there. Deen's father, Muhammad, would pinch him there when he was misbehaving growing up. And also, my little sister, Emily, he would pinch Emily on her thighs and flick her around her head when she would do something he didn't like.
When Deen was living with us, and you guys would sit there and you guys would play around and kind of bicker amongst yourselves and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what he used to do when he didn't like something?
Yes.
Like what?
He used to pinch my thighs as hard as he could, to the point that they would bruise. And
the divorce and the custody was supposed to be settled on January 10th. On the 4th, Deen had made claims against me for child abuse, and which is even more interesting because he made the claims days after he got the baby, but yet in court he testified, which you'll hear later on in the video, that as soon as he noticed the bruising, he contacted CPS. Okay. Anyway, Deen had made claims against me for child abuse. And I believe that he's accusing me of child neglect in an act of desperation to get out of the custody and parenting time plan that we had negotiated with our lawyers that had a set resolution date for January 10th, in which Deen would be paying me $18,000 lump sum in child support on the 10th to cover the next 5 years of child support. And that sounds like a lot, but we actually worked out a deal. It would actually work out less for him doing it this way. I also believe that he's doing this out of unresolved feelings he has towards our messy and ongoing divorce. I believe that he's trying to gain full custody of the child at any means necessary in an attempt to get the baby a passport. So one must have full custody to get a passport without the approval of the other parent. And Deen has expressed to me that he wants to move back to England, so I have reason to believe he's going to move back to the United Kingdom, in which he'll take the baby, and the baby will never see me again. So on the 12th, him and his lawyer, Sandra, altered our legal divorce papers and tried to sneak in passport rights only for Deen for the baby. Luckily, my lawyer and I both caught this and made them remove it. That didn't seem to help because Deen and his lawyer filed the wrong judgment anyways. That wasn't agreed to and that I did not sign for.
The US government incentivizes the kidnapping of children.
On January 6, 2021, Paige Smith came to my home and interviewed me. I could already tell immediately after meeting Paige, she had the demeanor that I had done this to my baby. She was extremely hard to talk to and was already accusing me of things without even talking to me or getting to know or understand my side of the story. I tried to tell Paige about Deen's history of abuse and neglect and how messy the divorce was. Paige became irritated with me and said she was not there to talk about anything else and she didn't care. Although, when Paige's final DHS assessment was released, it went into a lot of depth and detail about my past and the divorce, from Deen's side only, which was all lies. It was actually eerily strange just how much Paige and Deen talked about things that had nothing to do with the investigation that was put in the assessment to try to make me look like a bad person. Paige then testifies in court the following day on January 7th for the father, only after speaking with me the previous day very briefly. Paige tries to persuade the court that I am in danger and says this about the Arlo security footage under oath.
As then TD Allen was next to me, he also observed the video, was exactly what Jessica was saying. Jessica was, excuse me for lack of better words, kind of freaking out.
Freaking out? Let's define that. So define freaking out. Freak out, a widely irrational reaction or spell of behavior. Okay, let's check out dictionary.com. An act or instance of freaking out. Let's see. Behave or cause to behave irrationally and uncontrollably with enthusiasm, excitement, fear, or madness.
because she felt a little knot on his leg. And Thomas did actually speak to me a little bit. His background is in kinesiology, so I can understand why he jumped to go ahead and check out the child.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Check out. Did you see Thomas do that in the video? Okay, let's define check out, shall we? Someone or something in order to be certain that everything is correct, true, or satisfactory. Okay. It's kind of a broad term, so let's see. Another word for check out would be investigating or examining. Examining is pretty close. Let's look that up. Define examining. Inspect something or someone in detail to determine their nature or condition. Investigate thoroughly.
But basically what happened was Jessica then proceeded to be like, what should we do? Thomas said, maybe we should go to the ER or see a pediatrician. Jessica said no. Well, she didn't actually, nope, I revoked that. At that point in time, it was kind of more of a, let's just check him out, is what I observed. She did not.
This is what Paige wrote about the video in her final DHS assessment. She explained something entirely different than what she testified in court. The report refers to baby Deen as Ollie, which is his middle name. So this is what the report reads, and I quote, Jessica was seen walking in from the garage with Ollie in her hands. Jessica was speaking to Ollie in a childlike tone when Thomas entered the room and said hello to both Ollie and Jessica. Jessica was observed becoming concerned due to reporting feeling a lump in Ollie's leg. In the video, Jessica and Thomas were observed examining Ollie for injuries. During this time, Thomas reported to Jessica that if she was concerned, she should contact a medical professional while examining the leg of the child. Ollie was set down on the countertop where Thomas was observed examining the legs and Ollie's body. In the video, Thomas audibly says, "There's no bruises," and continued to examine the child for injuries.
About a minute video.
Child Protective Services, CPS, has all been known for massive corruption, the falsifying of documents, statements, and the list goes on.
Oh my god.
It's not like Bruise though.
No, but that's not a good thing.
You should take it in.
I kind of want to take him in right now.
Right now? I don't think that's like...
Child Protective Services, CPS, has all been known for massive corruption, the falsifying of documents, statements, and the list goes on.
What do you think CPS worker Paige Smith gains from lying? Her testimony in court about the video doesn't even add up or match the DHS assessment that she wrote about the video. I just don't get it. Why is she lying?
Why did you file this immediate danger motion?
Because my son is in danger, and as I picked him up from a recent exchange, I brought him back to his babysitters, and he was acting traumatized. When usually he acts very happy, and then after playing with him and sterilizing, we found bruises behind both his ears, kind of a big knot on his forehead, and bruises to his upper thighs.
And what date was that you picked him up and saw these bruises on him?
That was the 1st of January.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, did he have any bruises or injuries to him prior to that date, dropping him off with Miss Heidi's?
No.
And if you could briefly explain your parenting time with Jessica.
Parenting time is it's a 2-2-5-5 plan, which I get him for 2 days, and then she gets him for 2 days, and I get him for 5, and she gets him for 5.
So on this occasion, had you picked him up from her possession?
Yes, correct.
And the exhibit mark number 1 and 2, can you explain to the court what those are?
Yes, those are bruising behind the crease of both ears, which one appears that if you put your thumb right where the bruise is on the inside of his ear, it creates a perfect match of somebody's thumb being squeezed against his ear, which also there was scabbing on the inside of his ear, creating a half a circle which imitates a nail.
So what did you do? I'm sorry. I'd like to... did you take these pictures yourself?
I did, yes.
And have they been changed or altered in any way since
No.
You provided them to me?
Correct.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer these exhibits number 1 and 2 into evidence.
Mr. Campos? Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, 1 and 2 are received. Rachel, go ahead, please.
Mr. Hayes, after you saw the bruising, what action did you take at that point?
After that, I contacted my attorney, which was you, and filed I went to go speak with DHS, and they referred me and spoke to me. I then got referred to the Kids Center, where they did an exam of my son, and then also did a skeletal radiology exam as well as a blood test. Following that, I got advised to file for immediate danger.
And do you have safety concerns of your child being with Jessica Hyde?
Yes.
And do you feel the child would be in physical danger if he had to go back to her?
Correct, yes.
Because of Paige Smith's reckless investigation and lies, I missed my baby's first birthday on January 11th, 2021. I'm due May 11th, 2021 with my second baby, and baby Deen will not get to be there to meet his baby brother. It was court ordered that I could only see my son on Sundays with supervised visits. This was done at Mary's place. The visits weren't scheduled till February 21st, 2021 because the father Deen kept canceling. While I was happy to see the baby again, it was an awkward and humiliating experience for me. The baby looked at me in confusion as to who I was and did not like me touching him anymore. I never felt so horrible in my life. The hardest part is that the medical examination came to the conclusion that the bruising was done intentionally, and now I know baby Deen's abuser has exclusive access to him without me in the picture. On February 25th, 2021, Mary's place, where I had supervised visits with the baby, called me to tell me that the father, Deen, was canceling for the next 2 weeks. Deen stated he had work training to attend to on both Sunday evenings. Mary's place explained he could have another trusted adult bring the child. Deen said that he didn't have anybody who was willing to do that. He also said his schedule was too busy to look into any other day or time during these 2 weeks to offer me a 1-hour visit. This crushed me as I only got to see the baby one time on February 21st for 1 hour since I was accused of abuse. Now I would go in an additional 2 weeks without seeing the baby at all. The next time I would get to see the baby would be March 14th, 2021. Mary's place staff were aware of my situation and had told me that it seemed odd that Deen would cancel just 3 days before my scheduled visit with the baby and suggested that I request a welfare check. Since it was possible that Deen could be canceling due to further injuries on the baby, he didn't want me or Mary's place to notice. I know I didn't hurt my son, and I knew the baby's abuser was still with him. So I called the non-emergency number and explained the situation to them. I also let them know that the last time I saw my son on February 25th, he had blistering around his mouth and milk particles floating around in his water cup, which added to my concerns of neglect. I got a call back from Officer Allen, who left a message on my phone at 4:51 p.m. and said that he had spoke with Deen on the phone and was not at all concerned. I called the non-emergency number back and asked them if Officer Allen could please give me a call back so that I could ask questions, since it seemed to me that no welfare check was done, and Deen was able to simply talk his way out of one by simply talking with Officer Allen on the phone. The next day, I still had not heard anything back, so I called the non-emergency line back and asked if I could speak with someone. They said an officer would call me back and discuss more with me. I got a call around 9 a.m. from an Officer Vanderbilt, who asked me why I was concerned for the baby and why I was asking for a welfare check. I explained to the officer that Deen has canceled his visits with the baby for the next 2 weeks, even though it was court-ordered. The officer then asked me why I wasn't able to see the baby, and I explained that there was an open CPS case because the father, Deen, had accused me of abuse. I explained to the officer it seemed odd that Deen would cancel last minute due to work training when he would have known that in advance, since just last Sunday, Deen confirmed with Mary's Place staff that the next Sunday and following Sundays would work for him. I also let Officer Vanderbilt know that the last time I saw my son on February 25th at Mary's Place, the baby had blisters around his mouth and milk particles floating around in his water cup, which added to my concerns of neglect. The officer then got frustrated with me and asked me several times why I did not report it to CPS. I explained I didn't trust CPS, and I explained that I couldn't take photos at Mary's Place per their policy, and that Mary's Place staff had taken photos of both those things and were to get back to me with the photos so I could provide them to my lawyer. I don't feel like milk floating around in the baby's water and possible drool blisters were severe enough to contact CPS, even though I found them to still be concerning. Vanderbilt then questioned me if I was even telling the truth, because he said that Mary's Place staff are mandatory reporters and would have reported it if it were true. I told Vanderbilt that I did not know why they didn't report it. I told Vanderbilt that the staff informed me that they wanted to wait till their manager came back before they did anything with the images. Vanderbilt then asked me for my CPS worker's name and number, which I gave him. I simply wanted a welfare check done on my baby to know he was safe. Nothing more. I now feel as though the officer was making me out to be a bad parent in person by simply requesting a welfare check on my 1-year-old son who had a current ongoing CPS investigation. It doesn't matter what the officer thinks happened in the past. I'm simply requesting a welfare check. After Vanderbilt spoke with Paige Smith on the phone, he told me that he would not perform a welfare check on the baby. Vanderbilt said that he had spoken with CPS worker Paige Smith, who said that I'm the abuser and that there's no reason to believe that Deen is. Vanderbilt informed me that Paige Smith told him the court had placed the baby with the father because I'm an abuser. Officer Vanderbilt then says to me that Paige told him the reason that I cannot see my son is because I am challenging her. Completely horrified and sick to my stomach, I called Paige Smith and explained to her why I felt the welfare check was needed, whether she believed me or not. I wanted to make sure my baby was safe. Paige then told me that her evidence to the case points to me as being the abuser. I asked Paige, based on what evidence? Paige said she had spoken with my babysitter Donna and that the baby had attended daycare on December 30th of 2020, and Donna had reported seeing no bruises on the baby that day. Paige said that was proof enough that I had done it. I explained to Paige that the baby wasn't even on my care on December 30th. Because that was the same day I picked up the baby from the Bend police station at 8 p.m. and that Deen and I used different babysitters, which Paige was completely well aware of, so I don't know how this got missed. Once I proved to Paige that the baby did not attend daycare at Donna's on December 30th, Paige then called Deen to ask him where the baby was that day. This means that Paige had come to a guilty outcome of the case before she had all the details and had tricked my babysitter, Donna, into saying that she remembered the baby being there that day and that she didn't see any bruising on the baby when he wasn't even there on December 30th. This means that Paige does not come to these serious conclusions without hard, undeniable evidence, and it is okay to come to a guilty outcome whether it is true or not. This having devastating consequences on children like baby Deen, who are now placed with their abusers full time, with the innocent parent out of the picture. Devastating for parents like me, who are called child abusers and have their lives ruined and torn apart. Destroying a bond an infant has with his mother, who is the only person he's known to take care of him, is suddenly not there anymore. So now 53 days after starting the investigation, Paige tries to backtrack. Deen now gives Paige the name of a completely different babysitter than who he initially told Paige was his babysitter. This babysitter reported to Paige that she often watches the baby.
April and her acquaintance have extensive criminal backgrounds, as you can see here. The baby was last in April's care before the bruising appeared. Social worker never looked into them and never did a walkthrough of April's home. Social worker Paige wrote in her report that April was Jessica's stepmother. Jessica does not have a stepmother. Paige took character statements from this lady on behalf of Jessica rather than talking with any of Jessica's real family. Notice how forcible entry is on April's extensive criminal record. April has done this to Jessica. While Jessica was away from her home, April, her boyfriend Jacob, who also has a very, very extensive criminal background, and April's two daughters moved themselves into Jessica's home. When Jessica got home, all their suitcases were in the master bedroom that is Jessica's room. Jessica was already in a lot of emotional distress because the baby was being hid from her and all her belongings were stolen by the baby's father. She told them to leave and they started to record Jessica in her own home while in extreme emotional distress. Due to stress, Jessica ended up fainting in the lawn outside her home while pregnant and the paramedics were called. While Jessica was passed out and regaining consciousness, April and others tried to hold her down as they stole the keys to Jessica's car that contained what little belongings Jessica had left. Notice how theft is also on April's record. The man who held Jessica down also has theft on his record to the first degree and is a felon on multiple accounts. The father moved this felon into the home with the baby. The cops told Jessica there was nothing they could do about April being in the home because April's belongings were already in the home, making this a domestic dispute. When Jessica tries to remove her property from the room April and her boyfriend Jacob are staying, April spits in Jessica's face, and April, being a compulsive liar, then begins to accuse Jessica of attacking her children and claims she has it all on video. The police end up being called and the cops tell April that Jessica has the right to get her belongings out of the room they are staying in. April threatens to beat Jessica for asking for her items and calls Jessica a cunt in front of her kids. April then tells the officer that she purchased the items in the room, including the bed. The cops then say it's a domestic dispute again due to April lying.
What? I'm standing here.
Yeah, and you also...
You are in my room that I rent, spitting in my face, swinging at me.
Where's the rental agreement?
By law, you cannot come in my fucking room.
Give me my property. That is my property.
You cannot come in my fucking room. Period.
Where's my property?
By law, a tenant cannot. A landlord cannot go in a tenant's room.
Where
so
is my property?
Get out of my room.
Guys.
You were in their fucking faces yesterday.
No, I fucking wasn't.
Yes, you were. It's on video. It is on fucking video. And then you were in my face, and Ty had to jump in front of you to keep you from fucking hitting me.
I never touched you.
You go after my minor children again, and fuck yeah, I'll beat your ass. They're minors, bitch.
Go the fuck to your room.
Fuck off, cunt. I can go anywhere in this house except for Ty's room and your room. Any community living areas, I'm allowed to go. So stop threatening me with your bullshit. And stop telling me how miserable you're gonna make everyone's life.
Well, you need to get all my fucking property out of your room, or I have a right to be in there.
No, you cannot go in there.
You're stealing my property.
I didn't take nothing of yours.
All my shit is in that room.
Anything that is in that room was in there when I moved in.
It was not supposed to be your fucking room.
No, the master was, and you kicked us out.
That's my fucking room.
Girls, come in here.
Deen then provided Paige with a picture timestamped December 30th at 4:28 p.m. Paige then reports the photo shows the baby in a high chair with a clear view of his left ear. In the photo, there are no observable bruising, marks, redness, or dark spots indicating that there was bruising present. There's a few things wrong with this. I said I saw bruising behind the baby's ears on December 30th, 2020. Paige knows this. Now, I have not seen this picture Paige is referring to, but if it does show behind the ears, which I would find is extremely suspicious if it did, like premeditated type of suspicious, I figured, how could someone pull that off? 1, they could have inflicted the injury to behind the ears right after taking the photo. 2, the bruising behind the ears isn't even visible in the photo, and Paige is assuming by looking at the photo that there isn't bruising behind the ear. 3, they could have used an old or new photo of the baby and changed the timestamp. I mean, 53 days have gone by, and now all of a sudden this picture appears? Also, Deen didn't file a report of the bruising until days after he got the baby, which means that there was potential for Deen to cause additional bruising to the ears. After having done some research, I found out there are several ways to easily change a timestamp on a photo. This app is called Metadata Pro, right here, and you can select any photo you want from your camera roll. I am going to select a photo and a date that would be impossible, so I'm going to select this photo because the baby's really young in this photo. You can see the real date is May 1st of 2020. So I'm setting the date, confirm, modify. So the baby's about 5 months old in this photo. I'm going to edit the date, creation date, and I'm going to make the date December 30th, 2020. I'm also going to set the time. I'm going to set the time to the time that I didn't have the baby that day, so it would have been impossible, to 5:15 p.m. Confirm. I'm going to modify. I'm going to go back to my photos to see if it worked. And now you can see December 30th, 2020, 5:15 p.m.
In the following video, you can see Jessica walk to her car with baby Deen wrapped in a blanket. The abusive father did not want Jessica to have the blanket and proceeded to try to forcibly yank it from the baby, almost causing Jessica to drop the baby onto the concrete below. You can see the father and his friend are recording the whole thing. Upon police arrival, they edited that part out of their videos.
Get the fuck out of my house!
Because of this social worker's untruthful statements, this allows that father to get away with many things. On April 2nd, the father stated that either he would get sole custody or that Jessica could resume seeing her baby again under the condition that she would no longer be awarded any child support and that Jessica could not have her fiancé around the baby, even though Jessica and Thomas, a former U.S. Marine veteran, are expecting their first baby on May 11th. This proves that the baby's father was not at all concerned that the baby was in danger with Jessica, and that his motives were to get out of paying child support and continue to have control over Jessica. The social worker reports in the DHS assessment that April watches the baby for the father. April confirms this. Over the phone, April tells the social worker that she is Jessica's stepmother and that Jessica is a bad mother. The social worker does not question this and writes this in her assessment, even though it is not true, and does not bother talking with Jessica at all. This is who the father has watched the baby while he is at work 13 hours a day. Since the social worker lied, Jessica only sees the baby once a week for an hour with supervised visits, as previously explained in this video. The baby now has no parents, and this is who is raising the baby. How would you feel if your baby was being watched every single day, all day by these people? Well, the social worker thinks this is okay. Despite the lies said about Jessica from the father's friends, who are no doubt stand-up citizens, Jessica has no criminal history. She does not drink or smoke, she owns her own car, and she bought a large new construction home, despite going through an ugly divorce just this year. Jessica left her 7-year marriage as a result of infidelity, abuse, control, and neglect of the baby. This is all backed up through extensive text messages between Jessica and the baby's father. Jessica simply wanted a divorce to have freedom and for her child to have a better life, and this is the result of wanting out of an abusive marriage. Is this how women who want freedom are treated? Do you think Jessica is free even though the divorce is finalized? Do you think Jessica's child is safe with the father? After this video was released, DHS threatened to prosecute Jessica for sharing Paige Smith's untruthful testimony. They claim their testimonies are confidential protected information, and by sharing the court's public records of their testimony, they will prosecute you. The social worker also personally retaliated against Jessica by making a false police report. The following video shows Jessica's reaction.
Hi guys, I'm making this video because I am in just disbelief right now. I just got a call from a Bend police officer saying that CPS worker Paige Smith has called them and said that I am showing up at her work, harassing her, and I'm demanding to speak with her, and that I am calling her, and she's asked me to stop. So I'm really just shocked this is happening, because for those of you who don't know, I actually made a video exposing Paige Smith for lying. And so this is her way of retaliating against me. So basically, you know, I'm just in disbelief. I'm just kind of making this video on the spot. I'm actually at work right now. So she's saying I'm showing up at her work. One, I'm pretty sure DHS buildings have cameras, so prove it. Two, I work all day, 5 days a week. I'm a working woman. I can show you guys my time clock, my clock in and clock out. I don't have time to go try to talk to an unethical CPS worker. Why would I want to go talk to an unethical CPS worker? There's no point in talking with someone who's going to lie and twist your words. So that's the last person on this earth that I would want to be talking to, is Paige Smith. And secondly, the last time I spoke with Paige Smith, I think it was on March 16th. I'm going to show you guys my phone. And that was in regards to, I was at that time trying to request a welfare check on my son. I was really concerned about him. And the last time before that I ever spoke with Paige Smith was on January 7th. For her to retaliate against me and try to make a police report is just crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and play you guys the recording that the voice message that the officer left on my phone today. Tell me what you think. This is crazy. This CPS worker is literally retaliating against me for exposing her for lying. So,
hi Jessica, this is Officer Snyder with the Bend Police Department. I contacted you a couple days ago, but I haven't heard back from you, so I was just wanting to follow up and tell you what the phone call was about. So a couple days ago, I received a call from service from a DHS worker named Paige, and she had some concerns about, she asked you to stop contacting her on her work line as well as her cell phone. I understand she's a state worker and you might have some concerns about the case that you had with your child, but since that case is closed on her end, she is requesting that you stop contacting her and showing up at her workplace asking to speak with her about these issues that you're having. I understand it's your kiddo and that's a big thing for you, but on our end, she has made a request for you to stop contacting her unless it is officially about that case. Otherwise, you could potentially be looking at a telephonic harassment or stalking charge, and then we don't want to have to do that. I know it's your kiddo, but like I would recommend, I would contact, if you have issues with that case and you have concerns and you want to put in a complaint, please call the DHS hotline and not Paige directly, and you can actually get things done quicker that way instead of having to worry about contacting her and going through that issue. So if you could do that, that would be great. I would really appreciate that. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me back.
So, I mean, if she didn't like me exposing her, I would have been happy with an apology. I would have taken everything down.
We are here to stand by Jessica.
You
Jessica's
name it.
story
I would
shows
have
the
forgiven
corruption that is
and
done every single day to families
I would have moved on with
all
my
over the
life.
United
I'm not
States.
trying to
This
ruin
is a
anyone's
call to
life.
all.
I'm trying to get
Remove
my
your
life
fear
back, and I'm
and
trying
put
to
on your
protect my
masks.
son at the end of the day.
Find all of the CPS
So,
groups
for a
on
CPS worker to do this, a government
social
worker,
media
it's highly
platforms.
concerning
Get involved.
to me,
Do extensive
and it's
research.
actually really scary. So
Arm
guys, if you
yourself
guys have
with
any other similar
information.
stories,
If
please
you
share it
live
with me. You
in
guys
fear
need to get your
of-
stories out there and share
In
it,
fear of the
because
CPS
this is really
mafia,
scary.
then
And
remove
I
your
can't believe
fear.
this is
Join with
happening,
others and
know
fight
that
back.
you're not alone.
We will push to change the system as long as the CPS uses corrupted methods to destroy our lives. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive, and we never forget. CPS, expect us.